Welcome to Untamed Blossoms, the podcast where we celebrate the untamed journey of womanhood. Here, we tell the stories of incredible women who have embraced their authenticity, inspiring others to do the same.
From entrepreneurs to artists, activists to adventurers, we share triumphs, challenges, and the beauty of self-discovery. These are the stories of women blazing their own trails, breaking free, and blooming unapologetically.
Join us to connect, be inspired, and celebrate the power of women's stories. Together, let's rewrite the rules and embrace our wildness.
Welcome to Untamed Blossoms. I'm your host, Amanda Riley.
And I'm Christy Riley. Welcome to the show, everybody.
We're not going to talk about the weather.
Please don't. It's great here.
Well, I edit all of our podcasts.
You had all of them, 100%.
And someone sent me a thing of Trixie and Katya. They have their own podcast, The Bald and the Beautiful.
Right.
And they're like laughing
We're talking about RuPaul's Drag Queens in case anybody didn't know that
if
reference.
you don't know
You don't know.
Katya and Trixie from RuPaul's Drag Race, what are you even doing? But yeah, they have their own podcast, The Bald and the Beautiful. And they like had this meme, not even a meme, a picture of their text exchange of like how they have this, like they tell the same stories over and over again on their podcast. And then we act like we didn't remember that we said that last time. I go, Christy, we talk about being manifesting generators every episode in the weather. So
we're not talking about the weather.
We're not talking about the weather, and we're not talking about us being manifesting generators.
Things that you don't really think about unless you are that person who listens to the thing and realize that, wow, we repeat that a lot.
Yeah. Neither of us have
different conversations with different people. So those people are experiencing that story in a different context, in a different way. Not the weather.
Not the weather, though. And I feel like unless we really need to push it home about the manifesting generator thing, I think we probably.
It just shows how depressed we were. It was winter.
We were like, here it is, another rainy day.
Or it was freezing. And
so cold.
The backdrop that nobody sees is that I'm scurrying to get as much heat on before Amanda gets here because she hates the cold and I hate the cold. So the studio has to be warm in the winter.
Yeah.
Or we're miserable.
Here we are again. We cannot help ourselves. This is shocking, but I am pretty hot today in here. Oh, well. I know.
That's hysterical. We just did that again. Okay.
Truly, and I'm leaving all of this in this time. The people need to know what happens to us.
Ding dongs.
I think, I'm going to look it up.
Meanwhile, my husband's like, you guys should just be like, here's our guest and get into the conversation.
We're like, well, how will people know us? And then we're like, we're busy talking about the weather. So, let us be. We are going to record episode 29 of season 2 today.
That's crazy.
Isn't that bonkers?
So excited about these people coming on today.
I'm so excited too. And I'm so excited. And not all of these have aired yet, obviously,
right.
But I have notes on my phone I've started putting the episode number because I have to put those in when I upload the episode.
Right.
And if I don't look beforehand, then I have to back out, go back in. Point is, I'm like, wow, we have recorded so many episodes this year so far.
I know. We're doing a great job.
Yeah.
One a week, baby. One a week. But
we record
multiples a week.
Yeah.
But we only release one a week. So we'll have 52 episodes, and we're already well on our way. And mostly because your diva sister over here has to take December off because she's overstimulated.
No, I think it's a great idea. If I can be inside and under a blanket for all of December, yes.
That's our goal. That was our end goal. Great.
And we have some busy summer days coming up too. So it'll give us some time also.
Yeah, May's nuts with all of our family stuff, graduations and things. We got big events happening in our life. So
totally.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Our guest today came to us through another episode we did with Kelly around rally car racing.
Rally racing.
They are also drivers.
Yes, the racers.
Crazy stuff.
I had no idea what until I did a deep dive into their Instagram, what this was all about.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, these are some bad bitches.
So it's Rebel, but Belle, like Belle.
Right, Belle.
Race. So cute.
Yes.
Rebel Racers.
I know.
I'm so excited to talk to them.
And it's an annual race. So, and we'll get the details, but what I can extract, not knowing much about them, is that it's an annual race, like literally in the desert, no cell phones, no GPS, just compasses and maps and hardcore, like 72 hours of racing and checkpoints out in the middle of the desert.
Like, how cool.
Yeah. It looked like a mix of racing meets Burning Man. It's awesome.
Kind of vibe.
Yeah. So I can't wait to talk to these ladies. I think it's going to be a blast.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Jessi. Welcome to the pod. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you guys?
We're excited to talk to you.
So excited.
I'm happy. I'm glad you guys let us come on your platform. We're super excited.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we thought, I was like, what are these women doing? I was so fascinated when I went on your Instagram and watched these rally videos. And by the way, I don't know who's doing the videography for the page, but wow, it's very well done.
Thanks. Yeah, so some of that is put together by us. Like the stuff on my Instagram and my personal website is all stuff I do. Jessica has Pink Star Jess, which is stuff she does. And then our rally stuff is combined on the Jess Square rerouting, which is our team name this year.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, give us a little background. Like, what is this rally? Where does it start? Where is it? Just give us a whole picture.
So the rally is an 8-day competition. It's all off-road using map and a compass to navigate. We don't know where we're going. We'll know where we're starting probably in a month or 2 or 3 because the rally doesn't start until October. And then the ending point, we also won't know because each day you're given the coordinates that you're going to chase. And so you may be changing base camps, but we camp all the entire way. We have to carry all our own gear. It's meant to be self-sufficient. So, if like something breaks on the rig, I have to fix it. And we work together as a team to find these checkpoints and to navigate. The year that Jessica and I competed together, we raced from Mammoth all the way down to Glamis, which is at the border of Mexico.
Wow.
So yeah, the starting point is different each year. Sometimes it's the same, but most often she changes it up. And with this year being the 10th anniversary of the Rebel Rally, I'm sure she has a lot of surprises in store for us. So we're super excited to see what she has planned.
And this is an all-female race.
It's an all-female.
You have rally.
Driver, a co-driver, and then there's 2 classes. There's the 4x4 class, which is what we're competing in, and then there's the crossover class. So the course is slightly modified, for crossover vehicles.
And what's a crossover vehicle for those listening that may not know what that is?
So that would be a vehicle that can't shift into 4-wheel drive.
Got it. Wow.
So what is the roles and responsibilities? So you have a driver and a co-driver. So how do you kind of separate who does what? And are there different skills for each person, or do you flip back and forth?
So it depends on the team. You can certainly flip back and forth, and quite a few teams do that. I can do both navigation and driver. The past 2 years I've competed as driver. This is the rig we compete in. That's my Jeep. And Jessica, in this case, didn't want to drive my Jeep. So she's going to be the navigator, and then I'll be the driver assisting her with navigation.
Wow.
And what are the biggest things that break? So I'm assuming, first of all, this appears to be out in the middle of the desert mostly, right?
Well, mountain, desert, like all kinds of. We even do sand dunes. Yeah. So There's a lot of you have to have a lot of skill in driving. You have to know how to drive the different terrains. And you have to be able to fix your vehicle. I fortunately do a lot of pre-work on my rig to make sure it's ready for the competition. But to give you an idea, people have broken their axles. People have broken their tie rods, which is their steering component. People have busted. I've seen with, side view mirrors dangling, all kinds of stuff.
So do you fix, I mean, are those, axle seems like a big repair. Can you fix that on the fly out in the wild?
So an axle would be a much larger repair, and I would,
Right.
because you have to carry like the tools necessary. Like, for example,
Right.
if you needed to weld it, you need a welder. I just don't have room in my Jeep to carry that. In that
Right.
case, I would have to take a penalty and go to base camp. But the good thing about base camp and their mechanic staff is if you know how to fix something, they'll let you do it. You still have to use a penalty for taking the quote unquote assistance. But like the first year I competed, I had a clamp come off my muffler, so I had to put that back on. And then I had a fuse go out that affected my vacuum pump, but I was able to take care of both of those things myself. It just depends on what your skill level is.
Yeah.
So I'm dying to know, how in the world did you get into this? What were you like into before this? Did you know anything about fixing cars?
Like our friend that we interviewed, Kelly Conroy, who was just like, one day she's like, I want to do rally racing and I'm going to do it, and had no idea how to drive a car, even a stick shift.
No, I'm kind of an adventurous kid. I grew up very much a tomboy, and so I was always out in the wild, drove my parents crazy with that. But I had a huge sense of exploration. So when I met my husband when I was 18, we started to go out further and further. We had a Forerunner, then we had a Sequoia. We would go out like way far, probably further than we should have for the vehicle we had. But we just progressed, and I've always loved to do that stuff. Like I grew up fishing, exposure to firearms, and I have a uncle that likes to work on rebuild old cars. So that's kind of they've been super supportive of me that way. So I've had a lot of people that have supported this culmination of where I am today. So yeah, I just love
So
it.
you
And then when
were an off-roader early.
yes.
An off-roader early, yeah.
And where did you
yeah.
grow up?
I grew up in the Midwest in Wisconsin, and then I moved out here with my family because my dad was a musician, and so he moved to be closer to LA to the music scene.
Where are you at now?
We're in Oceanside. Actually, both myself and Jessica live in Oceanside, so it's great. We get to see each other a lot, do a lot of practice before the rally, work out our team dynamics. So, that's been really awesome.
Is that not normal in this and for this in this rally? They're
No.
all across the country. They come from everywhere.
I competed was during COVID, and I was going to compete with a friend of mine, but she unfortunately contracted COVID and couldn't compete. And so I got paired up with a lady in South Dakota.
Oh,
So we
wow.
had absolutely no way to practice at all. We showed up to the rally not knowing each other and, went through it. But yeah, I mean, it happens quite frequently that you're not in the same town. I know 2023, Jessica's partner lived in Northern California and she was here in Oceanside. So she had the same kind of dynamic.
And what do you do together to practice and prep? Like, what does that look like?
So there's different things like obviously we use a compass. There's a plotter that we use, which is what this is, for on the maps, and then we print out our own maps. We go out and make a route. We also practice. We've gotten in with a great group of other ladies. We call ourselves the Rebels. Because once you've participated, you're called a rebel. And So we all kind of get together and we do different meetups to help practice each other. Like the Team Desert Bells, they did a practice in Johnson Valley. Jessica and I are doing a practice up in Big Bear. So we pick different areas where we can all get together and kind of support each other and help each other practice. Because honestly, leveling up each other's skills just makes us compete that much harder.
Yeah. And what's the big prize? To say that you did it, or is there what is the goal?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's the goal.
You do get money off entrance fee for the following year.
Got you.
But yeah, it's more about, oh, I did this and honestly, I've never encountered a community like this because everybody's so supportive of each other and everybody wants to see you do better. So as you move up in the ranks as far as competition, you just pay it forward by helping somebody else out.
That's amazing. I love that. That's a great culture. And
Yeah.
was that started by the developer, the owner? Was that always her mission?
Yeah, Emily is a big believer in if a problem arises, what part did you have in causing that problem, and how do you take responsibility to fix it and make it better? And I think that just fuels into like even my own personal style. I'm a big I call it a rear view mirror girl. I'm like, that problem's in the back seat. Let's
Mm.
figure out how to get forward, get back on track and move forward, learn from it, but move forward and not dwell on it. I think sometimes we beat ourselves up way too much, rather than just, okay, we made a mistake, we screwed up. How do we get forward and move ahead?
Wow. And I would have to think because you're out there in the wilderness, camping basically outside of your Jeep, that you have to have some sort of survival skills and learn some of that as well. What do you guys do to prepare for that type of camping and being out in the elements to, stay safe?
So, Jessica and I actually didn't really need to do too much. She has a long history of doing trips like this. So do I. And like I teach people to camp, overland, all that stuff just in my spare time as kind of a hobby. And Jessica has been, since a young age with her family out there doing the same. So the camping side of it, we really didn't need to do a lot. In fact, like her and I kind of joke because we're like, it's so much louder than what we're used to when you're on the rally because there's like 65 teams, two ladies, per team plus the staff. It ends up being a lot of people even though you're camping. So while we're used to a little more remote, this one is a lot of people.
Party.
So I was
Yeah.
watching some of the videos and, some of the all-terrain, the places that you find yourself on looked
Mhm.
really frightening, honestly. Like, how does the rally make sure, since there's no cell phones, no way to communicate, no GPS, none of that, is it just the checkpoint and making sure that people make it to the checkpoint? Like, what happens if there's an emergency that arises?
So, from the rally standpoint, when you start off at tech inspection, once you've passed tech, they attach a tracker to your vehicle that you
Mm,
tamper with or anything that gives them your precise location at all times.
got
So
you.
they have that. And then they do give us a sat phone for emergencies. And then she also has a rule written into the rule book that if you pass another team, you have to signal them like you're good or you need help or whatever. And if they're good, you can just continue on. But if they're in trouble, you need to help them. So
Got you.
that's kind of one of the rules of the rebel. So as we come across each other, to be honest, sometimes you may not come across anybody because it's so remote, and depending on where you're at as far as leaving the start line, the earlier you are, the less likely you are to come across somebody.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. But I was watching some of the videos and I was like, my goodness, like this is like some of those, like what are those like extreme sports videos, right? Where you're going up an incline this high and there's all these rocks and and so I was like, wow, this is really in a lot of ways fairly dangerous. And they're out there with no cell phones. I'm like, what is going to happen? So it's good that you guys have some. I figured there was something in place to keep you safe and accounted for.
What do you do professionally outside of this? Do you do this kind of full time? And it sounds like you do some training otherwise. So I'm just so fascinated by the wilderness and all the things that you do with that. A huge goal I have is to hike on the Appalachian Trail. Like, I would love to do that and backpack along the way and camp. But the camping part is the scariest part. And you're like, I just teach classes on that. So really no big deal. So I'm just kind of curious of what you do full time.
So actually, I'm a real estate broker.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm co-owner of my own company, and that's my full-time job. I wish I could do this full-time, but it's really not feasible. So I try and give back. Like I'm a huge rock crawler. Like I love to crawl over the boulders that are like up to my window on my Jeep.
Wow.
So I enjoy giving back by teaching people that. I also volunteer with a lot of companies. As far as training goes, and then I assist with the like Jeep Jamboree, Adventure Academy, and that as an instructor. So yeah, I always laugh. It's my second full-time job.
Do you have children?
I do. I have 2 boys.
Are they into this as well?
So my oldest one is he's very much into it, so much so that he has his own vehicle and he goes out with us. The younger one is more of a techie nerd, I would say, but he'll come out occasionally. So yeah, it's kind of become a family thing. Hopefully all the family, but yeah, the oldest one caught the bug for sure.
That's awesome. So what have you learned most about yourself doing being a rebel? What have you learned most about you? This seems to be pretty intense. I thought it was only for 3 days and you're saying it's 8 and I'm like, my goodness. That's a long time.
I would say I've learned I can push myself harder than I thought possible. I mean, because like on the Rebel, for example, you're getting up. The ones that are competitive, like myself, we're getting up at 4 a.m. and we're not allowed out of our tent until 5 a.m. And then you're not done for the day until 5, 6 o'clock at night. And then you go to bed and start over again. So you do that, long term. Along with the mental capacity that you need to shoot bearings and find the coordinates and figure out where you are and read the topography. All that for that long of a duration really pushes you to past your limits, so to speak. And with us pushing ourselves to be even more competitive and go further each year, I think it's a really great challenge for that. Yeah, I would say that, the endurance level that I didn't realize I had. And then also I think that it pushes you to try more things, not be afraid to do the things you maybe wouldn't normally do.
I think so many women are so intimidated by the thought of doing things with cars just in general, right? Like I know when we talked to Kelly, we talked about this and it's just such a male dominated field. I think that's
Mhm.
very obvious. But if a woman's listening to this and she's interested in this, what are some things that you could say, hey, here are some first steps. Here are some things that you could start doing to get involved, whether it be with Jeeps and rallies or just the outdoors and wilderness, anything like that can be male dominated. So
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest thing you can do is just get some seat time. It doesn't have to be complicated, but the more familiar you are with your vehicle, whatever it may be. I know like in a class I did, I had a lady say, "Oh, I can't do what you do. I only have this small rig." And I said, "It's way more capable than what you think. You're mostly the one holding yourself back." And so just being positive, thinking about what you need to do, and just getting that seat time and reaching out to other ladies. I mean, like I know I teach classes. I'm actually going to launch a girls series later this year, focused on just females. So I'm hoping to take some of that demystification of or fear away from, well, I don't want to ask them because they're a guy, or I maybe I can't do that. I mean, like, I would love to have so many women out there, rock crawling, and because a lot of times I go and do these things, and I'm the only girl with a bunch of guys. I
Yeah.
would love to have more females out there.
Yeah.
What's rock crawl? I know you said like you're climbing over these boulders, but explain to us that process.
So, I mean, literally, we're driving over these rocks.
Mm, mm.
So you
Literally
have to.
driving a Jeep, and they have big nubby, and they literally can tilt really hard, and they have grippy. Am I explaining this right? I've seen videos. It's literally watching if you can think about a spider on
That's
two different
wild.
boulders, and the cars are going up over these Jeeps are going up
Mhm.
over these. It's like the most extreme sport you've ever
I
seen.
was not thinking
Yeah.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
she's a badass. What she's
Yeah.
doing is really cool.
Yeah.
And I've seen
Yeah.
videos where, you're like you're rock crawling, but also there's mudding involved, and some woman will go by, and the guy will be like, "That's my wife," right? And he's real excited
Mhm.
about a female and what she was accomplishing, because she was kicking every dude's ass that was on the trail, right? And she was
Yeah.
killing it. And I think that's really cool what you're doing. And I think there will be a lot of women who will step up into that interest, and just dedicating the time to say, I'm going to do this thing that's really hard, but I'm going to stick to it until I can do it, right? And even do it messy, but do it.
Exactly. And I've found that honestly, some of the women are really excellent drivers. Like, they really think about things. You know, Especially in rock crawling, you really have to think about your tire placement. You have to think about how much off camber you are so that you don't like flop, so to speak, or even potentially roll if you're going straight up or straight down. But the women are very thoughtful in their thinking process. Just sometimes, just like anything, we process things in a different way. So sometimes speaking to another female about what you're doing kind of helps streamline your thought process and demystifies some of the things that some people think are hard. But I mean, honestly, I don't feel like I'm doing anything special. Like, I'm putting in the work, and that's really what you need to do.
I think it's like with anything else, we talk about this often. It's just finding the community of other like-minded women that can help support you in the goals and help hold you accountable, and be there if you need to have a freak out moment and cry and be like, this is so
Mhm.
hard. And then be there to celebrate the wins and talk through those tough times. So it's the community piece is so important. I'm happy to hear that you're working on, trainings and things where people can find that support that they might be looking for.
Yep.
Well, and the Rebel rally seems extreme. I'm assuming it's up there in the toughness world, right? Like, it on levels of 1 to 10, I'm assuming it's close to a 10. But there's less intense rallies maybe, or races that people can get involved as they're getting started.
Yeah, there is. There's a rally in Nevada. There's also the Artemis rally. I would say from the Rebel side, for me personally, the driving isn't difficult. The navigation is the harder part of it because
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, you don't really get taught latitude and longitude and how to navigate from that in school.
Right.
It doesn't happen. So reading the topography and all that is really a lost skill that a lot of us don't have. So I would say that's the harder part. I know some ladies find the driving challenging, but I think because of my rock crawling experience, I haven't at least found the driving super challenging. Um, I would say the one asset it gives me is I'm um, more of a daredevil as opposed for the driving aspect. So I'm willing to cut out a lot of unnecessary terrain. Instead of taking the safe route, I'd rather like go up and over a mountain or something.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we're going over this.
Yes.
Hold on. Strap yourself in. Here we go.
Have you
Exactly.
ever gotten into like a sticky situation where like you've literally gotten stuck or flipped over, or whether it be in training or actually in a rally?
Yeah, I mean, I've come across a lot of situations where I've had to help other people. I haven't, knock on wood, put myself in that position yet. But I've recovered a lot of people. We've pulled people out of the mud on trails. We've had people that were too off camber, and we had to winch them, for security so they didn't roll. I've had people that got stuck on rocks. They call it turtling when you're stuck on the rock and you can't move because it's just caught in the middle. And how to recover that.
All of this outdoorsy rallying, running around. It seems to be very prevalent in your life.
I know that you already mentioned that you've learned like you can be more like you're tougher than you thought you were, like, right? But like, is there anything like bigger life wise that you've been able to connect to? Like, this also translates to this part of my life as well.
That's an excellent question. I would say it's kind of removed my fear level. Being self-employed, sometimes it's hard in sales to ask for things, and I would say it's really pushed my business further because I'm no longer afraid to ask. I'm like, what's the worst that could happen now? I've really kind of overcome that mental block that perhaps held me back. I mean, while I was in a good place, I feel like now I'm in an even better place because I'm not afraid. I'm confident in myself. And I'm also, I feel like I take my worth a lot stronger. I know that I am worth something and I'm not willing to come down to, what somebody else thinks I should accept. So that's translated a lot into my professional life.
Totally. And
That's great.
has it been hard to like market yourself? Like you're like Christy mentioned earlier, social is awesome. Like it's really great. And it feels like, you know, it paints a good picture of what's happening. But have you had a hard time marketing yourself in that way, or being self-employed, has that helped?
I think being self-employed has helped, but I do definitely think like I'm very active, obviously in the off-road community, so I have a lot of contacts there. But the unfortunate thing about the Rebel is that while other events allow a lot of outside participation because of the way the Rebel is structured, there's not that same type of interaction allowed for fear of people assisting and then but therefore giving you an unfair advantage. So that's kind of hurt in the fundraising aspect for the Rebel because I mean I'm not going to lie, the entrance fee is over 15,000, so
Wow.
it's expensive to participate and to participate regularly. So the fundraising side of it is hard. So we do a lot of things like we sell t-shirts and we sell our hats and we have patches and stuff. And we do fundraising events to try and, raise funds. But yeah, I mean, it is hard to market yourself in this type of event.
Yeah, for sure. You can't have like people there like, cheering you on or doing like
Mhm.
things to donate during the event. So that makes sense. And really, selling merch too, like we've come across this ourselves. It can be hard because if people already don't know what it really is, and then like a podcast is a great example, and we're trying to sell shirts for a podcast and they don't know, it's hard to connect your audience to what you're doing. And the people that
Yep.
love and care and support you in general will also do those things, but that's a huge price tag that you guys
Yes.
are facing every year. So any other type of fundraising you do online so people can like get to know what you're doing, or also so we can promote that for you?
So we have our website that we just squared rerouting, just2rerouting.com, where we have people can donate, they can purchase packages of merch, or they can just simply donate to the raffle or even buy us gift certificates from the Rebel that we can use towards our entrance fee. We have that, and then our social media channels. I'm at arctrooper.jl and Mythosaur Motorsports, and then Jessica is at Jess Pink Star Jess. And so we kind of promote out that. But the other hard thing is, with the requirements for raffles, that's another hard one to get around. So you have to really be strategic.
Yeah.
Got you. And is there not corporate sponsorship that's possible? Or is this just not a big enough event for that quite yet?
No, there definitely is. I mean, the Rebel has a lot of sponsors that participate for the Rebel Rally. But
Got you.
for us personally, again, the rub is that like for these companies to sponsor us, what can we give them in return? And there's not a presence that they can have at the event for return.
Got
So
you.
it's harder. We have to do other things like the companies I work with that I have as sponsors for my rig. I go to a bunch of events like Jeep Beach, Easter Jeep Safari, Off-Road Expo. I'm going to be at Jeep Bash on the 13th. I do Jeep Jamboree, all those to promote the vendors that I work with. But yeah, it's hard to equate that to the Rebel
Yeah.
because there's this off. They can't come and be part of it.
Right. What are
Yeah.
they getting? What are they getting for their $15,000 if they
Yes.
put up the entrance fee? Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
if you're watching a NASCAR race, you see the cars go by and there's, all these fans in the stands
Mhm.
with your logo on the back, and it's just not the same
Right.
thing
Yes.
there. I'm interested, does everyone have a Jeep that is involved in this, or are there
No.
different no? What made you pick? I'm a Jeep girl. Love me my Jeep. I always have a Jeep. What made you kind of step into that, and do you ever plan on changing it, or do you feel like that's your jam?
So I have thought about changing it. This vehicle has been tried and true for me. Because depending on the terrain that you're driving, especially in the sand, you need to have both power and you need to think about the weight. And like I also have a Ram 2500. Well, driving in the sand isn't really. I mean, well, you could do it, but you're not going to do it as successfully as you would in this particular vehicle. There's lots of girls that drive in other vehicles, like Toyota has teams that drive out in their 4Runners, RAV4s. There's also Rivian has vehicles that compete. So there are other vehicles. There's Subaru has vehicles that compete in the same class. But yeah, I mean, just because I'm so familiar with this girl and I can fix her quick and I know what to do, I'm probably gonna stick with her for a little while.
Stick with what you know.
Not to see if somebody said, "Would you drive this for me?" I might think about it.
I
I'm
definitely would consider it.
open to it.
So, do you and your teammate have any big goals or anything that you're hoping to accomplish as a team?
So yeah, we've talked a lot about that. The one thing we do want to do is do our best every day. And so we've planned to, at the end of the day, kind of do a debrief and see what worked for me, what worked for her, how I can better support her and she can better support me, and then start again fresh the next day. Both her and I have seen teams have communication problems, and then it just festers and they don't get rid of it and it causes a problem, and that's one thing that we want to be sure we don't have, because being able to depend on your partner and communicate, especially in both a stressful and tiring situation, is really crucial. And so we try and go out every month and practice to simulate the Rebel and also work on our communication, because that's really going to be the key at the end of the day, is how well do we communicate with each other and support each other. And I think being able to step into each other's shoes if need be is really great, because you don't feel like all the pressure's on you to do this solely by yourself.
Yeah. From an outsider's perspective, it's easy to assume that the driving is the hard part, right? And the train's the hard part, or the camping's the hard part. But really, for you all, I'm sure it's the teammate aspect, the camaraderie, the making sure you're communicating effectively. And then to your point, hey, if something happens, do we know how to do each other's job, right? Like, are we going to be able to fill in for one another? And then also the knowledge piece, I'm sure, is really crucial. Do you both know the same information? I think the daily debriefs make so much sense because that's the best way to communicate what's, the start, stop, and continues. Like, what's working, what's not working, what should we keep doing?
Yep, exactly. And especially in the morning when you have such little time, sometimes, you could, innocently say something that upset the other person, not intentionally, but, you just say something and then, by talking about it, we thought, this is a great way. I mean, some teams have safe words. I know Jessica has one. I don't really have one. I'm like, okay, well, if I need a minute, I'll just tell you I need a minute.
Yeah.
But but giving each other the space to do that, I think is really crucial. And then being able to kind of read each other. Like I know Jessica doesn't. I don't eat during the day. I only eat in the morning and then at the end of the rally. At the end of the night. Jessica needs to eat throughout the day, and so knowing that about her, I can be like, "Hey, you haven't eaten in a long time. Do you need a snack?" You know? But these are the kinds of things we can do, to support each other, and knowing that ahead of time is good because then you can start getting in the habit when you go out practicing. If you notice that, oh, well, here I can do this, or here you need this, or
Yeah. Chrissy does the same thing for me. She makes sure we have snacks throughout the day because if I don't eat throughout the day, by the time our second interview of the day, she knows it's going to be bad news.
He's hangry.
I'm hangry. So it's a sign of a good teammate to know the other one's hunger cues.
yes, 100%. Yeah, it's in a way, it's slightly like a marriage. You kind of get to know each other in that level that you're like, okay,
Yep.
I think you need a break, or you need this. Yeah.
Right. You can immediately know the energy's off, right? She knows that about me too. And she'd be like, what's wrong? What's the matter?
What's going on over here?
What's happening? Yeah. No, I'm imagining that's really critical for you guys, especially in high tense moments when you're trying to figure stuff out on the fly or things aren't going well. That's really important. It's not important when things are great and you're just cruising along. Yeah. Nobody ever has those issues, right? It's always when somebody's hangry at the most inopportune time, right? And then something broke and you don't know where you're at and you're possibly lost in the middle of a sandstorm. I'm assuming that may be.
Oh yeah, that has actually happened. There was a sandstorm and we all carry our little goggles so that, in case, but yeah, that has happened.
Yeah. That can get tense, you know what I mean? When there's cliffs around, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like this is, not just a cakewalk out here. We're not on a road. There's no roads.
Exactly. Either that or you come to in certain areas like Johnson Valley is a great example. You come up to Johnson Valley and like we were joking because we went there we go to the practice intentionally because there are so many trails. She can say, oh, we'll take the trail going straight. Okay, which one? There's 5 parallel to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to figure out which one you need to be on.
Right. To get to where she tells you need to end up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. This sounds really challenging on so many levels. It's one of those extreme sport type things that really challenge every facet of your being and then do it with another person, by the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And teamwork. Wow. That's impressive. It really is.
What about wildlife? That's my last random question I have for you. Wildlife. Are you seeing snakes out here? What's going on with this? That would scare me.
Snakes, tarantulas, bears.
Yep.
Oh my.
Yeah, you can definitely come across rattlesnakes because you're in the desert. I would have to say, I think the favorite animal I come across is the desert tortoise.
Ooh, nice.
And you have to be super careful of the desert tortoise. Emily, in fact, every year we get her to do it. She does the turtle walk. There's a certain way you have to sneak up behind, and you can't overpower the turtle because if you scare it, it will die.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a super sensitive turtle, a tortoise. And none of us wants that, of course.
No.
Uh,
No.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's amazing, like to actually see them. Yeah, out in the
Wow.
wild.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
we're just automatically thinking of all the most deadly things that we could possibly run into.
Yeah.
You're like, we love the tortoise that dies if it gets frightened. It's so sweet. And we're like,
Yeah.
but what about the rattlesnakes and the tarantulas and the scorpions and whatever else lurks that's deadly in the
Well, being
desert?
from in Ohio, I mean, what, we're going to
All
see a
the worst
squirrel,
things, yeah.
like,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I have an animal that we've come across that would be relative to the Midwest. Cows. You can come
really?
Really?
Yes, because there's free range areas that we can drive through, and when
Ah.
you come across them, they could be standing in the middle of the road, and you gotta figure out, how to get around them or make them move,
Classic cow
Wow,
behavior.
that is classic cow behavior.
right?
That is absolutely true. They're unbothered by the 3 ton vehicle that you sit in. You're like,
Mhm. Yeah. They don't care.
they don't care. Don't care.
No.
Not bothered. Not bothered.
Well, we
Exactly.
normally ask you where all the places people can find you, but you did go through some of those things, and we will make sure we tag your Instagram, your website, all of that. We'll make sure that people know where they can donate to support you guys. We think this is so badass, so awesome. We want to help spread the word as much as we can
Can
because
spectators come?
No, that is the other thing. Yeah, spectators, even our family can't come.
Wow.
It's totally a closed course. I mean, we encounter some like in certain areas, other off-roaders.
Right.
But if you are caught talking to somebody, you can be disqualified because
Wow.
there's
wow.
a risk for, if you run into somebody, them giving you information.
Got you.
Um, yeah, so it's a
It's all
completely
tight-lipped. Yeah.
Well, if you
Mhm.
see a cute little turquoise Jeep Islander with ducks out there, it's just Christy and I spying on you. See what's going on. We would not be racing.
wave
We'll
incognito.
be on the other side of that little cute river in that one video. Like,
We'll have tortoises around us. Like,
hey.
awesome. Well, that is
Exactly.
amazing. And we love to ask, are there any women who you'd like to shout out that have supported you or encouraged you along your journey, whether you know them or they're someone that inspires you?
I don't really have any females, but I would have to say my my uncles were huge supporters. My dad, even though he passed away, so sparked my exploration. My family was there to say, this may not be
Yeah.
normal, but do it anyways.
I love that.
We're here to support you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing you guys a story. And we can't wait to direct people to your Instagram and all the very cool videos. And you guys are killing it out there. And all from what I can see, it's all shapes and sizes, all ages seem to be participating and just rocking it out in the middle of the wilderness. As badass females. So you guys are doing amazing stuff out there. We appreciate
Thank
you
you
coming
so
on.
much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Of
thank
course.
you.
We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, and you can watch us on YouTube. So make sure you give us a like and subscribe on all those platforms.
And if this resonated or you know somebody who likes to get their rally on, please share.
Thanks,
Love you guys.
everyone. Love you.